I found out the hard way that you can live next to someone for years and still not really know them. We were the kind of couple people envied, married for a decade, 2 kids, our lives neatly compartmentalized into work, soccer practice, dinner, bedtime. Life felt predictable, comfortable. I liked it that way. I liked the idea of stability, of knowing exactly who she was and who I was with. She was attentive, funny, always planning things for the kids. I thought we were partners in every sense. But looking back, there were cracks. Little things I shrugged off, late nights at work, sudden bursts of irritation over nothing, phone screens she'd hide when I walked in. I convinced myself it was stress, that she deserved privacy, that I was overreacting. I never imagined that behind the smile she wore for the family, a completely different life was unfolding. One I would stumble into completely unprepared. The first real warning sign was subtle. I was going through her phone, don't judge me, but I'd noticed she was distant, and something in my gut kept nagging me. There it was, a series of messages with someone named Alex. Casual at first, work stuff, but then they got different. Flirty. Familiar. She'd laugh at texts in the middle of the night, and then quickly hide her phone when I entered the room. I wanted to believe it was harmless, that I was just being paranoid. But the feeling wouldn't leave. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, hard hammering, thinking, this isn't normal. I tried to ignore it. I rationalized that maybe I was just stressed from my own job. She was probably just seeking validation like anyone else might. I'd ask her if she was okay, if something was bothering her, and she'd smile, smooth it over, and I'd feel relief. Temporary relief. But the unease lingered, like the faint smell of smoke you can't quite place. It got harder to ignore the little things. She started disappearing for hours without explanation, saying she was meeting a friend or running errands. Sometimes she'd return home smelling like a perfume I didn't recognize, acting casual as if nothing had happened. I noticed that I stopped asking questions because the answers never satisfied me, but the suspicion festered quietly, gnawing at my peace of mind. One evening, I accidentally stumbled across a social media account she'd hidden. Pictures, check-ins, comments, it was like seeing her in a parallel world. She had a life I wasn't part of, one where she was laughing, smiling, intimate with someone I didn't know. My chest tightened. I felt dizzy. I wanted to confront her, to demand the truth, but fear kept me frozen. Fear of losing everything, fear of what I might find, fear of confirming the worst. I went to bed that night pretending nothing had changed. But everything had. I just didn't know it yet. The turning point came on a Sunday afternoon. I was folding laundry when a notification popped up on her laptop. A video call. Her name flashed on the screen, but it wasn't me on the other end. It was a man I didn't recognize. My stomach dropped. I froze. I didn't know whether to look closer or back away. My hands shook as I clicked the corner of the screen, and there it was, her, laughing, leaning into him like she had a secret world I'd never been invited to. I don't remember if I felt more anger or disbelief. Every memory suddenly felt like a lie, the late nights, the whispers in her office, the excuses I'd accepted. I felt like I'd been sleepwalking through my own life, oblivious to the cracks forming right under my nose. When she walked in moments later, I couldn't speak. My voice caught in my throat. I realized, with gut-wrenching clarity, that this wasn't something I could ignore anymore. I confronted her that night. I barely managed to say, "Who is he?" My voice was shaking, half anger, half despair. She froze for a second, then forced a smile, the kind of nervous, brittle smile that told me she knew she'd been caught. "It's not what you think," she said, like she had a script prepared. I didn't believe her. I wanted to, but my chest ached and my mind raced through every lie, every hidden message, every night she'd come home late. She tried to explain. She said it started as harmless texting, as an escape from stress, from boredom, but it wasn't just texting anymore. I couldn't breathe. Every word felt like a hammer smashing into the foundation of my life. My hands shook, my vision blurred. I wanted to scream, cry, and throw things all at once, but I ended up standing there, stunned, like my body had checked out of reality, while my brain kept replaying the evidence. She confessed everything over the next hour. Nights at hotels, intimate messages, small gifts I never noticed. She kept apologizing, saying she didn't want to hurt me, that she loved me, but the words felt hollow, stripped of any weight. I asked questions she tried to dodge, explanations she tried to justify. It didn't mean anything, she said at one point, and I wanted to hit something, anything, to make her feel even a fraction of the devastation I was drowning in. I felt like I was unraveling. The woman I thought I knew, the mother of my children, the partner I trusted with my life, had been living a secret life for months, maybe years. And somehow, I had been the last to know. That night I didn't sleep. I wandered the house, staring at the walls, listening to the kids breathing in the other rooms. I kept thinking, how could someone so close be so far away all along? The next few days were unbearable. I couldn't look at her the same way, and every glance at the kids reminded me that part of our life, the part one trusted, was built on a lie. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her and demand answers, but my anger was tangled with grief. I kept replaying her confession in my mind, the casual way she described nights with him, the way she minimized it, and the way she still acted like nothing had changed between us. She tried to be affectionate, to touch my hand, to hug me, and I recoiled. Every gesture felt contaminated. Even our conversations about mundane things, groceries, school schedules, felt absurdly fragile, like a porcelain cup I might shatter with a single word. I started avoiding the house when I could, going for long walks just to escape the suffocating presence of someone I thought I knew but didn't. I realized I didn't know how to exist in the same space as her anymore. We had a confrontation I'll never forget. It started with me sitting her down, trying to demand clarity, and spiraled into screaming, tears, and accusations. "How could you do this?" I shouted. "I gave you everything. Our family, my trust!" She yelled back, her own. After that night, silence became our default. The kids noticed something was off. Little questions, the way I avoided her gaze at dinner, the tension that hung in the air like smoke. I tried to act normal, but every interaction felt like walking on a tightrope. I caught myself imagining conversations she had with him, places she'd gone without me, moments in our home that weren't ours. I hated her and loved her at the same time, and that contradiction made my chest feel permanently heavy. I started questioning everything. Had I missed other signs? Was our life together ever real? I felt betrayed not only by her, but by my own naivety, my willingness to ignore red flags because I wanted to believe in her, in us. Friends and family noticed I was withdrawn, distant. Some asked if we were okay. I couldn't tell them the truth. Not yet, not without shattering myself in the process. Sleep became impossible. I'd lie awake imagining conversations, arguments, scenarios I couldn't change. Work became a blur. I couldn't focus, my mind constantly replaying her betrayal. Even mundane tasks felt monumental. I found myself crying in the car, in the shower, in the middle of grocery stores. I was ashamed to admit how utterly broken I felt. The house, once our sanctuary, felt like a trap. Every photo, every shared memory, reminded me that the person I trusted most had kept a secret life. I couldn't even talk to her without feeling waves of anger and despair. Sometimes she'd try to touch me, and I'd flinch. Sometimes she'd speak my name, and I'd feel a stab of longing for the intimacy we'd lost. It was like living in a world split in two, one where I pretended everything was fine, and the other where my heart was quietly imploding. Eventually, we tried talking again, really talking. But it never felt like connection, only negotiation. She would offer apologies, half-hearted explanations, and I would nod, pretending to listen while my mind catalogued every betrayal. "I want to make this work," she said more than once, but I wasn't sure I wanted the same. I felt like I was arguing with a ghost of the woman I married, someone who existed only in the parts of her life she shared with me. I started keeping secrets too, small ones, my thoughts, my whereabouts, because I couldn't trust her, and honestly, I didn't trust myself around her anymore. Every interaction was loaded with suspicion. Every laugh felt forced. I didn't know if the marriage could survive this, and the fear of destroying the family for the kids clashed with the fear of pretending forever. I realized something crucial: trust isn't just broken in a moment, it erodes quietly until it's gone. The kids were beginning to sense the distance. Their questions were innocent, but they cut deeper than anything she had done. "Why are you always sad, Dad? Why don't you hug Mommy anymore?" Each one felt like a tiny accusation, a mirror reflecting my own failure to protect them from this chaos. I wanted to explain, to tell them the truth, but I couldn't. Not yet. Not without destroying what little normalcy remained. I started avoiding her more. Weekends became escape routes. I'd take the kids out, stay late at work, anything to not be in the same house as her. And yet, when she tried to talk, I still felt a pull, a part of me desperate to understand, to forgive, to feel the warmth we used to have. Some nights, I'd lie awake listening to the house breathe and wonder, can a life built on lies ever be rebuilt? Or are we just patching a wound that will never heal? Eventually, the tension boiled over. One evening, after another day of pretending, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I confronted her with everything: the messages, the nights away, the hidden life. My voice cracked, my hands shook, but I needed her to feel the weight of what she'd done. She tried to justify herself, saying she was lonely, saying she didn't know how to handle her emotions, but her words were empty armor. We argued for hours. I said things I'll always regret: accusations, insults, even threats. She cried too, but there was no reconciliation in the tears. Just exhaustion, bitterness, and the sharp edge of betrayal cutting deeper with every word. At one point I realized we were speaking past each other, not to each other. The person I loved was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized, someone capable of living a double life without a second thought. I left the room shaking, my body drained, my mind in pieces. The consequences hit every corner of my life. Work suffered, friendships frayed, the kids felt the tension, and I couldn't stop replaying every memory, every lie. She tried to repair things, but trust once shattered doesn't mend with apologies. I found myself questioning everything: my judgment, my instincts, my worth. I'd catch myself thinking, did I deserve this? Could I have stopped it? The answers didn't come, only guilt, heartbreak, and rage swirling together. We separated for a while. Nights alone became a mix of relief and despair. Some days I wanted to run back, to pretend everything could be like before. Other days I hated her so deeply it scared me. Even in public, even at work, even around friends, the betrayal felt like a phantom limb, an invisible part of me that throbbed constantly. I realized that her actions hadn't just hurt me, they had changed who I was, reshaped the way I saw love, family, and trust. Months later, I'm still piecing myself back together. We never fully reconciled. She moved out for good, and the house feels emptier than it ever did when she was here. The kids are adjusting, but I see glimpses of confusion and sadness in their eyes, reminders that betrayal doesn't only wound the person it's aimed at. I've learned to mask my pain in front of them, to be strong, even when inside I feel fractured. I think about trust constantly now. I thought it was unshakable, something you could build a life on, but I was naive. People can be more secretive, more complicated, more capable of betrayal than you ever imagine. I still love her in some ways, and that scares me. But I also know I need to protect myself, to hold on to the life I have left. I don't have all the answers. I just know the world feels sharper now, every smile carries the weight of what I lost, and some wounds never fully heal.